Hello and welcome to another exciting Blender tutorial. Today we're going to be building our scanner bots. Let's jump into it. Okay, so welcome. Today what we're going to be doing is building out the little scanner bot guy. We've got these placeholders from last episode where, these little just spheres that are kind of flying around. And the idea is this episode we're going to start putting together what this thing is going to actually be. I've got some ideas for how we're going to do it. We want to have a bit of an expression system in this, and it's going to be really fun. I think that I want to have like something that I can control, sort of a central eye, like this sort of, so we can see like shock and surprise in the robot. Because again, like we talked last episode, it's really important in order to shape the audience's experience. We've got to get them to be empathetic to our story. We've got to get them to relate to what we're trying to communicate to them. So in order to have empathy and connect with our audience, what we got to do is have a character that can evoke emotion that they can, kind of mirror, that they can see and go, wow, someone else is really scared. It sounds a bit obtuse, but that's really what's going to make it, a little more engaging for everybody. And this is going to be like, amazing. It's just going to be fun. But this is a great way to kind of take it up a notch. So what we need to do is figure out how to do that. So what I want to do is I'm going to start off actually going to build this guy in a fresh scene just so that we can look at that separately from everything else. But I do want him to be the same size as this little ball because we've got this set just right. And I want to make sure I set up my controls and everything to really work well with that. So what we're going to do is we're going to go up here to File. And oh, by the way, this is the latest version of Blender. This is, 2. So I'm working here today in Blender 2.83. So that's the version that's just come out that we're on to. So very exciting stuff. Undoing is going to be a lot faster. It's got a lot of other improvements. So I'm really pumped about that. All right, great. So what we're going to do is go up to File and New and General. And I'm not going to save anything here. And then what I want to do is bring in the actual little ball placeholder that we had. So I'm going to go here to File and Import. No, sorry, not Append. We want to go to Append. That's it. All right, so what we're going to do is head over into wherever you saved out that file. Let's see, mine is Epic Space Battles _5. I'm going to click Append, and then it's going to take me into all the stuff that's inside that file. And now what I'm going to do is I can go over to Object, and I can look for my little scanner bots. There we go. So I'm just going to grab one of them, and I'm going to click Append. Now it's going to come in with all the animation data and all that stuff. So we're not going to want any of that. I'm going to delete my default cube and I will select my scanner bot and also go over here, turn on selectability, viewport render and all that stuff. Because remember we animated the viewport, or at least I did. I don't know if we did that together or not, but I'm going to clear that out. And I'm going to hit the full stop key to go find him. So let's pick him here, full stop key. There he is, way over here. And I'm going to delete all the keyframe data that's on it as well. By right-clicking over here, we've got the green highlight, and I'm going to select Clear Keyframes. And that's just going to delete out all the keyframes. Then what I'm going to do is zero out his position. So he's back at the origin of our scene right here in the middle. Perfect. All right, great. I'm going to delete this light, and I'll delete the camera. And here we go. Now we have a scanner bot that's the same size as the one that we're going to use in our main scene. So we're going to build it here, and then we're going to go over and bring it into the other scene itself. So anyways, that's how that's going to work. Okay, so first thing I want to do is start to map out the shape of what this little guy is going to be. Okay, so I know I want it to be simple. I don't want to have really complex geometry. I want to keep it pretty clean. And I kind of want to have like just a big key central area where we can build this shader that's going to be the expressive eye for our character. All right, so let's get started. I'm gonna go into edit mode, and I'm gonna select all, and I'm gonna rotate this guy on the y-axis 90 degrees. All right, now I've got the point where all this stuff is converging is now facing forward on the x-axis, and what I want to do is kind of use this as my face. Now I want to switch to face mode and hold down Alt. And I'm going to just select these faces here. The central face. Oh, that's right. Can't loop cut that group. Loop select that group. I'll do that. And I will just deselect these guys. Now let's take this, and I'm just going to hit E to extrude. And I'm going to grab on the X and just bring it right back like this. Okay. So this is going to be this inset face where the reactive eye is going to be. So we're going to have a different shader on this section here. All right. Now let's go ahead and right click and shade smooth just to make sure. And I'm going to loop select this this edge here by holding down the Alt key and selecting it like that. And I'm going to hit Control B to bevel, and I'm just going to drag it just a little bit just to bevel that one edge. And giving a double cut like that is what's going to help us get a sharp edge if we add in a subdivision surface modifier, which I can do that now. So head over to modifiers under the little wrench and add modifier, and we're going to go subdivision surface. There we go. So now you can see that we get this nice hard edge just by having that double edge. I might keep the rest of that. Now I want to have I've got this idea for having some kind of fin thing that comes off the side of these guys. I think could be kind of cool. Like it goes around the face. So let's do that. I'm gonna grab my faces, and I just want to grab maybe just these two right here. I'm also going to use a mirror modifier as well. So let's go ahead and get that set up as well. So I'm going to switch to vertex mode, go to transparent, hit 7 on my number keypad to jump to the above view, and then hit B to box select and drag a box around all of these guys like that. And then I'm going to zoom in just to make sure I've got everything selected, which I do. And then I can hit X to delete those vertices. And now I only have half of a scanner bot, which means I can come over here to my add modifier and mirror modifier. There we go. Now, if you want to deep dive on modifiers, you can check out my procedural sci-fi series on the channel. And there's a ton of stuff about modifiers on that one. All right, so I'm going to use this on the y-axis, not the x. And I'm going to make sure that merge is turned on, which it is. Perfect. Now it's going to merge all the vertices together if we ever apply this mirror modifier, which we technically don't have to. All right. Let's grab these faces just like that. And I'm going to hit E to extrude. And I'm going to grab it on the Y and just drag it right out. I'm also going to turn off the visibility of my subdivision surface because I don't want to see what it's doing just yet. I want to get my shape in place, and then I'll go in and figure out where to bevel stuff so that I can have firm edges with my subdivision surface. Okay, I'm going to grab it back on the Y. I don't want it to be that far out, just kind of a little bit out. Hit E to extrude again, and I'm going to grab on the Y. Now I did it twice because I wanted to have a face here and a face here that I could kind of extrude around my scanner bot dude. So now we're going to do a little trick here. I want to have a ring that follows the contour, the exact curve of this guy. And instead of selecting this and hitting E to extrude and then scaling on the Z and then grabbing on the Y and trying to kind of match it up, that's going to take a lot of extra steps. What I want to do is actually use this curve to create the curve that I want. So I'm going to select these faces just like that. Okay. And then what I can do is a couple different things. I could hit Shift D to duplicate, right? And then I can grab on the Y and just move that. So Shift D will actually duplicate those faces so that they are, well, duplicated. I could also undo that move, and I could scale up from the center point. So if I switch my origin point, the pivot point, to 3D cursor, which our 3D cursor is right in the center. If it's not for you, you can hit Shift S, and then you'll get the menu for moving the cursor, and you can set your cursor to world origin. And now if I hit scale, it's going to scale up based on the world origin. So I'm going to go and switch into my front view with 3 on my number pad, and I'll scale up until it's kind of roughly in line with, I'll do the outer, I'll do the inner ring here. So I'm just looking at right there. Now you can see that it's not flat because it's got this curve from the shape of our sphere. So in order to flatten it, I could do a couple of different things. I think the easiest one in this particular scenario is to just hold down Alt to select this line of edges, switch to vertex mode. So now it's switched it to a vertex selection. And then what I want to do is hit X to delete and just delete those vertices. Now I have a single row of vertices in the same curve as my sphere, and I can just extrude them. But I can also go ahead and line this up with this vertice right here. So I'll switch back to hit 3 on my number keypad, and I'll just hit G to grab and hold down Control. Yeah, I need to switch my snapping mode. Let's see. Up here, I'm going to switch to vertex snapping. This is the snapping controls up here. You're not familiar. So G to grab, hold down Control. Wait, sorry. Put my cursor right next to where this one is. G to grab, hold down Control, and then I can just snap that onto there. Now it hasn't merged them, so it's now 2 vertices in the exact same spot. So we have to remember to go back and merge those guys to get that to work. All right, I'm going to hit E to extrude, and I'm going to grab this on the X right over, and I'll just, with snapping, I'll just hold down Control. So I'll grab this loop. Actually, I'll just grab these three, and I'm going to grab them on the Y and actually lock them to this guy right here. So now they've got the same Y, and I'll just lock that onto there. So now they match. Sweet. All right, now what we can do is I want to delete this top one. Delete that face. And now I can also delete this face because this is going to be hollow because I'm going to bring this over. And I can delete this face as well because we're going to do the same thing. In fact, we can also use our mirror modifier here as well. So I'm going to switch back to the front view, switch to vertex, switch to transparent, box select, grab all that stuff. These guys as well. And then we're going to hit X to delete and delete those vertices. There we go. Sweet. Now you can see with our subdivision surface modifier, we're getting some weird stuff here. And that's because we haven't merged these vertices yet. So they are separate objects. So that's why it's a bit confused about what's going on. So to fix that, all we have to do is box select both of those, actually switch to transparent mode just in case, because there's two vertices right on top of each other. You don't have transparent mode. It's only going to select the one that's most visible. So that's going to be a bit of an issue. So, all right, so let's go up to F3 and we're going to type merge. And we can merge by distance, or we could just click merge. Actually, let's merge by distance because we don't want to merge all these points together. And you can see here it says removed two vertices. So we know that it worked. If we jumped out of edit mode, you can see the subdivision surface as well is looking much better. All right, perfect. Now, in order to get this thing to continue to work, let's grab these faces like that. And we could extrude this and then grab on the Y and snap it just like that. And that's going to give us something that kind of works. And then what we could do is we could get this vertex right here, grab it on the Y, snap it to that one. All right, that looks pretty good. Yeah, I think I like that. It's going to be kind of tapered in the way that the way we've done that. And I think that looks kind of nice. So I think I'll keep it. And we can go underneath here and we can grab this face and delete it because, again, we don't need that excess geometry. And it's looking really good. All right, now what we can do is we can merge again. So we need to actually, let's take this vertex. This vertex needs to be in line with this one. It looks a little weird. So I'm going to grab that on the Y and let's see what's going to look best. Let's grab that one on the Y as well. Maybe is that going to shore it up? Yeah, good. All right, sweet. All right, we could hit A to select all and then hit F3 and merge by distance. And that's going to merge everything where we've got, some distance stuff messed up. So, all right, now, one other thing is right now, just double check that. Yeah, that worked. Okay. You can see here you get this weird shading, and that's because our normals are messed up. So when we do kind of custom modeling like that, you can end up with having some really messed up normals, which can cause issues. At A to hit select all, and then we go up to mesh, normals, and recalculate outside, and that will recalculate those normals. Also, too, is that we've got these new vertices that we made. Like some of this is shaded smooth, and so some of it is shaded flat. Jump out of edit mode, shade smooth. Boom, there we go. All right, cool. Now we are getting weird stuff here, but that's because of this hole, so we just need to fill that. So what I can do is I can just select this with an Alt click, and that's going to select this loop. But if we do bridge edge loops, which is what we want to do, it's not going to work because we only have one edge loop selected. So we just need to deselect the top and the bottom. So these are now disconnected. So now they're just two edges that are parallel to each other. And now I can go here and type in bridge edge loop and hit enter, and then that's going to bridge those edge loops. Now we just need to double check that we didn't end up with any extra vertices or any loose edges, but it doesn't look like we did, which is good. Jump out of edit mode, you can see the subdivision surface is now working really cleanly. All right, great. Now I can just take my mirror, and I can also mirror now on the Z. That's going to fill this guy out completely, and now we've got those cool little handle things. All right, cool. Now let's figure out what's next. Let's shore up some of these edges and make them a bit firmer. So I'm going to hold down Alt, and actually now it's not going to let me loot select that. I'm just going to select those guys right here, and I'm going to hit Control B to bevel. I'll drag out just a little bit. I'll also go ahead and turn back on subdivision surface into the display mode here for edit mode so I can see it. And let's do a loop cut for this. So I'm going to hit R, Control R, and select there, and just bring this right over. That'll just be a little cleaner for us. And yeah, I'm going to also do 2 loop cuts. One right here. Oh, actually, I don't want to do it fully like that. So I think, let's see, if we select all these guys. So switch on to face mode, and I'll just shift select, try not to be fancy, and hit I to inset, and just drag that in a little bit, and that's going to inset all of those and give us a nice hard edge along there. And I can do the same on the underneath side. There we go. Now, if you're enjoying this modeling stuff and you want more, feel free to check out the Patreon, because we've got a bunch of modeling tutorials up there as a Patreon exclusive. So we'll learn how to make the hero ship and the bad guy ship as well from our scene. So that's a lot of fun if you want to check those out. And then I'm going to put a loop cut right up here. We need to get this in bit to work a little bit better, I think. So we could just do that. There we go. Looks pretty good. All right, now we just need to fix up down here where it's a little bit messy. In order to fix this up, what we need to do is we just need to like kind of continue this loop. What you can do is you look for, so right here, see this like edge? Got this nice edge with these 2 close edges side by side that kind of make this nice path for us. You can see we've got one here too. And then what we have is this section here just sort of breaks up that flow, and that can, make for messy geometry. And so what you want to do is you want to look for where can you return flow to your models. It's kind of a bit of a trick. So what I can do is I can delete these 2 faces like that. And now I can grab one of these vertices here and just grab, and it'll snap right down onto there. And now you can see we've kind of restored that flow. And so if I switch to transparent mode, which I'm in now, I can select these, I can select these, I can go merge by distance. And we've got 2 vertices that are removed, which are the 2 right there. And now if I pop out, you can see it's a lot cleaner. And the geometry flow is just a lot nicer. So that's a cool way to just clean stuff up. All right, I'm going to hit Control R, loop cut, and just bring this down here, just so I kind of tighten up that edge, get out of transparent mode. Do another one right here, bring that right up, right about there. All right, cool. Now I need to do a similar thing here with this. Unless we want to actually work with it, we could try seeing like what happens if we bring that out. I don't like it. Let's get rid of it. I'm going to delete this face, and all we're going to do is bring this vertice and this vertice down on the X. If you open up this little side menu here, select vertices, it'll tell you information about the vertices that you have. If you've got more than one selected, it'll give you the median point for all of them. But these are both, I know they're on the same position on the Z. So if I just click them both and hit 0, I can move them both down on the Z so that they're flat on the plane. And that's going to cause our mirror modifier to merge them together. Hope that makes sense. I can bring that there and jump out of edit mode. Okay, cool. It's looking pretty good. All right. Now, there's not a whole lot more I want to do to this. I want to kind of give it something. We need to have a kind of a propulsion system for this guy. We could have something along this, like along the back. That could be actually a pretty good idea. Another fun thing would be if we could rotate. Oh, that's actually not a bad idea. What if we could rotate this thing around him? Like make this a hinge, and this thing could like rotate. We could use it almost like an eyebrow, for expressiveness. And it could be sort of the way he propels himself. I kind of like that idea. That's kind of cool. Like a little gyroscope kind of thing, like where this can rotate independently of that. Yeah, we got to do that. That's so cool. Let's grab him. We'll go up here to the top. Grab these 4 top vertices like that. And we'll just hit Control plus. And that's going to increase our selection until we've got pretty much the whole arm selected, which, yeah, that looks like the whole arm. Then we're going to hit P, separate by selection. And now it's going to be a separate piece. Now, what we could do is, so yeah, this is what I'm thinking. So rotating on the Y. So we could like rotate it like this. around him kind of moments where it looks like he's like holding his head going, oh no. That's going to be really cool, actually. So what we're going to do next is we're going to get this thing lined up so it can rotate on the y-axis. So we need to go ahead and apply our mirror modifier so we can get our origin in the right spot. We might be able to do this without this, but it's all right. I'm just going to do it. So I'm going to click apply, and that will apply that. So now this is a full piece of geometry. And now if I jump into my side view, you can see that the origin, which is that yellow dot, is just at the front of this object, but I want it to be right here in the middle. So what I can just do is go object. I'm not in edit mode, by the way, I'm in object mode. Go object, set origin, origin to geometry. So that means keep the geometry where it is, but put the origin right in the middle of basically the center of gravity for this guy. So now the origin's right in the middle. So if I rotate on the Y, it's going to, oh yeah, also I need to switch my pivot point from 3D cursor to back to median point. So now if I switch it, hit 1 on my number keypad and I rotate on the Y, you can see it's going to stay. So now we need to have like a recess that's going to be big enough to hold this thing and let it rotate. And I like the fact that it's kind of elongated, so I'm going to keep that. I'm going to go over here to my rotation for it, and I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees because that's going to be the most extreme angle, I guess, in terms of its width. So we can use that as a reference point to edit our geometry to create a socket for this thing that works. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to get rid of these beveled vertices that I have here. I'm going to delete vertice. Now it's just nice and clean, and we're just missing a face here. I might even go ahead and fill this face. So I'm going to actually bring him back so he's right in the middle. So I'm going to hit 0 there just to position this guy right in the center. And then I'm going to switch back into edit mode, and I'm going to grab those two right there. And I'll go ahead and just hit E to extrude. Grab them on the Y, drag them in, and I'll select these two faces and delete those faces. And then I'll just see how it holds up as we rotate on the 90. Yeah, that'll give us enough room. All right, cool. All right, so first thing I want to do is take this edge loop. So I'm going to switch to edge mode, alt-click there, and I'm going to grab that on the Y and just drag it inside the geometry of the other one. And then what I want to do is go ahead and set up my mirror modifier again now that I've got my origin in the right spot. So I'm going to switch to vertex mode, switch to transparent, double tap A to deselect everything. And then I'm going to hit B to select and just grab all those guys and hit delete vertices. And then I'm going to come back over to my modifier stack, add in a mirror modifier again, and just drag it up so it's the first thing. And then I want to go along the y-axis. There we go. Sometimes you have to do that, kind of jump back and forth with your modifiers a little bit. All right, great. Let's get this inset to look a little bit nicer. Let's see, I'll create an edge loop. So help us to see, I'm going to turn off where is it? Subdivision surface. There we go. And I'm going to hit Control R and try and get right inside there. Control R, there it is. Just drag that right up so it's real close there. And that's going to give us a much nicer crisp edge. And then let's actually turn up our subdivision surface to 2. Yeah, that's going to look a lot nicer. Yeah, cool. All right. And then we just need a little bit of machinery fun goodness in here. So I'm going to hit, let's see, I to inset, bring this right down. Now, because we're using a mirror modifier, switch to transparent mode, we're going to get some weird stuff because it's not treating it like one big face, but that's okay. I'm going to grab this on the Y, bring it forward. That. And maybe scale it on X just so it's wide enough. And then I again. And then E, and grab that on the Y and drag that right in. I might drag this one in quite a ways, actually. There we go. And I think what I'll do is I will join up these guys so they're not two separate bits. So I can hide this guy so I can see. Jump back into edit mode. And I'll just delete these faces. And I'll delete these two faces. And then I'll switch to vertex mode. And I'll grab all of these guys like that. And then you can just hit S to scale lock it to the Z, hit 0, and we'll flatten them all onto the Z plane. And then I can go up here and just type in 0, and it's going to bring them all right down. And then what I can do, so we don't even need these middle ones. So I can just select these two faces and hit delete. There we go. Now we can do the same thing here with these guys. So grab those 3. We can actually grab all of them like that, hit SZ0, and then once again, come right here and move them to the 0 plane. So that will work really well. All right. Looks pretty good. I feel like this lip's a bit small, so I'm going to hit Alt to select that loop, and I'll just scale it down a little bit. I'll hit Shift Z so it doesn't scale on the Z, and then I can just grab these guys here and grab them on the Z and bring them down. Yeah, that's cool. Let's have a look at it with the piece in there, and then I might select that loop as well and scale it down on X like that, and then grab it on Y and just drag it right in. There we go. We have this nice little inset thing for this guy, and now you can rotate independently and give us some expressions. I think that's going to help us create some personality with this thing, which is going to be really nice. All right, let's zero out the rotation again on this. Now we need to have some kind of like thruster system for this guy, and I'm thinking that these things are going to give us a really good way of doing it. So let's figure that out. I'm just going to come right in here, and I'm going to select these front faces, just like this. And just make sure I've got everything picked that I want. I don't want to get those bits. That's all fine. This is all good. All right, sweet. Now, what I want to do is I hit I to inset, and I'm just going to bring it in just a little bit. Make sure we don't get anything crazy. That looks pretty clean. Oops, looks like we missed something here. Just shift select that. I again. Bring it in just a little bit, and then we're going to hit E to extrude, and then we're going to grab it on the X and just drag it in ever so slightly, and then again E to extrude, grab it on the X, and drag it in. That. And then what I can do is I can hit E to extrude one more time, grab it on the X. Double extrudes just help to create nice firm edges for the subdivision surface to work with. Now I want to have this like inset on both sides. So I'm going to use my mirror modifier again, and I'm going to create a loop cut right down the middle, just like that. Then what I can do is I can jump into the side view like this, switch to transparent mode, switch to vertex mode, double tap A to deselect everything, and then grab these back faces, back vertices, and just delete them. And then what I can do with my mirror modifier is I can say, all right, mirror on the X as well. Now I easily have those things on both sides. So yeah, that's pretty sweet. All right, there's not a whole lot more detail in the model of this thing that I want to do. We might think of some things once we start to do the shaders and putting the materials on this, but for now, I think I'm not going to worry about it. All right, let's have a look at the materials for this guy. I'm switch to my material tab, and at the moment I've got my hero material on there, which is the material that we're using on the hero ship. Again, if you want to check that out, go check out the Patreon. We've got those tutorials over there for how to build the hero ship. It's coming together really well over there. I might scale this up on the X a little bit, like that, just to fill that space a little bit more. And let's split our view. And we're going to open up our shader editor. We're going to close this here. And I'm just going to get rid of the hero material. And I'm going to click new, and we'll call this ScannerBot. Right, now we're going to come over here. I'll make it a little bit bigger so we can actually see. I'm going to turn on my rendering view. I'll also get rid of the material of that and put ScannerBot on it. And I'm going to create a light sun lamp. I'll just rotate it a little bit like that, and hit Shift D, duplicate, and rotate it around like that. Rotate it on the Z a bit, like this, just to give me some contrast so I can see really well. All right, so I want to do something similar to what we've done in the Spiderbot and in the hero ship. We've kind of got this cool pattern where we're doubling up on a Voronoi shader, which is creates this really nice sort of geometric pattern, which is kind of cool. Let's go ahead and start off with a base color, kind of a silvery, maybe a slight blue tint to it. And I'm going to turn up metallic on this, and my specular, and I'll bring my roughness down a bit, make them really shiny. And let's take, I think I'll take the blue out a little bit, bring down that saturation some. And now let's grab a texture coordinate node, drop that down here. We're going to grab in a mapping node. And there, generated into the vector. And then I'm going to grab a Voronoi. And I'm going to duplicate it. And I'm going to take the vector, pop it into the vector. And I'll take the position, and I'll pop that into the vector. And then this guy, I'll bring over into the, let's see, what do I want? I'll take the color, and let's just have a look at it to start with. And, oh, that's right. It's the distance that needs to go in the vector, I think. There you go. We get these nice circular patterns. All right. Now, I'm also going to just check and see what object looks like. I swing that over. Yeah, that's a bit better. Cool. All right. I'm going to have a look at what the different options look like for us, because I want to find something that's not too similar to the spider bot, which I think that could be kind of cool. I like the way this is looking. Let's see. I'll change the scale so it's really big. Go back to F2. I think that was a little bit better. I'll check out the other options. Manhattan. I'm not looking at the colors. I'm just looking at the shape. I'm just looking for kind of a nice geometric pattern. I think it would be cool. Yeah, this is nice. I like this one. We're going to stick with this. All right. Give myself a little bit more room. And I'm going to create a color ramp. And just stick that in between the two. So we go to black and white values. And I can create a bit of contrast on this. Drag these guys in. Now I want to use this as well to drive my bump, because I want to have this like sort of like panel thing going on this guy. So I'm going to duplicate this color ramp, and I'll bring the color into it here. And then I'm going to create a bump node. And we'll drop that right here. And I'll take the color and we'll put that into the height, and the normal into the normal. Okay. I can drag this around a little bit more to create a bit more contrast. And then I'm just going to play with the distance and height values. Distance we could probably keep to 1 because this is a pretty small object. But yeah, it looks pretty good. Just nice. So you can see you get these little edges. Now what we could do is like get rid of out of the base color, right? And so now it's just going to be coming from the bump, which can really create this nice paneled effect. Make it feel like it's just got a bit more modeling going on to it than what we actually put in, which can be a really nice trick. We'll bring this back into the color, but I think what I'll do is another nice thing about doing this is you can see it's like there's a hard difference between this color, and this color. You can actually play with that and throw in like a random like red or something, and then stick that at a different point, and you can see it like snaps on. If we could set this to constant as well, and that's going to give us a constant color in one spot, and then when it switches over, it'll have a constant color in another. So that can be really, really cool way to work with this kind of a material to create something that's nice. All right, so this is a nice pattern. I like this a lot. All right, let's find some colors that work well. So I don't like the black, so I'll bring the black up. And I might put just a touch of blue into it. The red is a bit intense, so I will back it off and maybe find. Remember, we're going to make these guys feel really friendly. And they have to feel like they belong to the hero ship, which the hero ship has got a kind of a white/blue theme going on for its coloring. We should also have a look at, we should change our world background to black. And that's going to help us because we now remember our scenes in space. So we just need to be remembering okay, how can we make this look good in the context of a black void? All right, that's pretty good. I think I'll leave that there. That's a nice color setup. I'm going to go ahead and grab this guy, go into edit mode and switch to faces. And I'm just going to alt click this group here. And I will deselect these extra faces at the top because I don't want them. And same thing down here at the bottom, shift, and I'm using C, the brush selection tool, just to deselect those guys. And I'm going to create a new material here. And I'll call this one the scanner jets. I will assign that material. And this one's just going to be an emission shader. I'm going to turn the strength right up. I'm also going to turn on bloom so I can have a look at how bright the bloom effect is. I might also turn off our grid and handles. So we'll just turn this down. And now my idea with this is that we've got some kind of like lined pattern that's breaking up this glow effect. So I don't want it to be solid, just solid jet glow all the time. So let's do that. I'm gonna go in here and we're gonna get checkerboard. Let's try the checker texture. I'm gonna make color 1 white and color 2 I'm gonna set to black. And just to show you what this is looking like, I'll just pipe the color into the color. You can see it creates a checker box for us. So I can go over here and create a texture coordinate node so that we can be more specific with Blender how to place this generated texture. Create a mapping node so we've got a little more control if we want it. We don't have to use it, but it's good. You can get these too, by the way, a lot easier if you use the Node Wrangler add-on, which is up in Preferences. You can activate it. I don't activate it for these tutorials because I like to show people how it works on a ground level so that you can really get a sense of it if you're not familiar with these things. But that's a great way to speed up your workflow. There's hotkeys for instantly creating a texture coordinate node plugged into a mapping node, and hotkeys to instantly look at an emission shader so you can see what the color of certain things are. So it's set up really nicely. All right, now we can just play with the scale of this. I'll just see what looks good. So I'll just drag that up like this. X isn't really doing anything for us because we're not on the X axis, are we? I'll drag this one way down, so like 0.1. All right, let's try object as well. That could be... All right, cool. So what I want to do is create this hashed pattern, or like these lines across the thing. So what we need to do is we need to change our mapping from point to texture. Don't ask me why, but that's what works. And now we can change things up a little bit. I'm going to increase my scale on the actual checker texture. And then I think it's the Y we need to do. Yeah, I'm just going to drag that up to like 30. There we go. And then I can use the Z now to create get those lines to be closer together. And that's pretty cool. Now I can drag this up or down. Sweet. All right. Now let's think about the color. I might go for like a bit of a blue, because that's sort of our hero colors at the moment. It looks nice. So now when this thing rotates, be able to, we could even like have it like he's running. Okay, let's go ahead and rename our elements. So this is going to be the ScannerBot jets. All right, let's parent these guys up. So let's select the ScannerBot jets and then control click the ScannerBot and then come over here into viewport and hit Control P. And there we go, parent to objects. Now ScannerBot, we can move around, and the ScannerBot jets, we can rotate on the Y to get that cool effect going. Sweet. All right. Well, that's about all the time we've got for today. What we're going to do next is we're going to create this shader for the eye. And this is going to be a really cool shader that's going to actually, I think we're going to use some empties to animate facial expressions, like a digital facial expression on the face of this thing. So it's going to be really, really cool. So I hope you're excited about that. We're probably also going to put some controls in for turning on and off our jets, depending on how we go for time. So Anyways, if you really enjoyed this episode, please like and subscribe. Ring the bell to get notifications if you want to find out when anything launches. You can also join the Discord. I've got the link in the description below. I do put announcements and stuff in there. So when I'm going to go live or something kind of randomly, I'll announce it there. So that's a great way to stay on top of what's coming and where we're at. Also, check out the Patreon. There's some awesome rewards there. We've got a whole slew, about 10 extra tutorials for this series over there about how to build the hero ship and the enemy spider bot, as well as all the materials and rigging and all that stuff, plus extra bonuses and project files, and you can download stuff and play with it. So have a look at that if you haven't yet, and check us out on the Blender Market. We've got the Particle City tutorial series. We've got a really great asset pack there, as well as all the tutorials and project files you can purchase there. So that goes a long way to help supporting the channel. Jump into live streams if we're having them, and be great to see you. And yeah, thanks so much for watching. I will catch you in the next episode. See ya.